Okay, hello. Today's session we are going to be studying possessive nouns, and we've got a couple of worksheets we can work through here today. So this is the beginning of possessive nouns. Now, a noun, remember, is an object or a thing, and when we're talking about possessives, we're talking about who the noun belongs to and how we indicate that it belongs to a certain person or thing. So possessive nouns are used to show that something belongs to a person, place, thing or idea. Make a singular noun possessive by adding an apostrophe. An apostrophe is one of these, kind of like a speech mark up there. So it looks a bit like a comma, but on top. So, for example, the ball belongs to Carl, and if it belongs to Carl, we put the apostrophe after his name, and then you put an S afterwards. So it would be Carl's ball. The ball belongs to Carl. To shorten it, to make it simpler, you type in Carl's ball. And next up, the lid belongs to the pot. So if the lid belongs to the pot, it's the pot's lid. So we can see that possessives can work both for people or other objects, other nouns. So we can see that the pot lid might actually belong to the pot as well. So, for example, moving on, we can look at a noun which ends in S. So this becomes slightly more difficult because there's already an S at the end of the noun. So we have to think, how are we going to put another S in? Do we put an S after it? Instead, we'll look at this example. So the kitten belongs to the girls. The kitten belongs to the girls, and notice that girls is plural, so there's more than one. And how do we change this? We actually change it to the girls apostrophe kitten. So you don't need another S after the apostrophe. All you need is the girls apostrophe kitten. The kitten belongs to the girls. Next example, this room belongs to the executives. And we change that to the executives room. Okay, so your next task is to rewrite each sentence using a possessive noun to show each belonging. Question 1. The cart belongs to the horse. The cart belongs to the horse. Let's think about how we can edit that. Okay, next up, the job belongs to Mike. So Mike has got a job. How would you rephrase that? Next question, question 3. The moon belongs to Earth. That moon belongs to Earth. So remember, we're swapping around the structure, but we're also adding in an apostrophe. Question 4. The car belongs to Pete. The car belongs to Pete. So remember what we have to do to change the sentence structure in terms of swapping where it begins and then placing the apostrophe in the right place. Question 5. The class belongs to Anne. The class belongs to Anne. So Anne could be a teacher. In this case, thinking about another one of these nouns which has already got an S in it, so remember how we change those. Question 6. The wish belongs to Kim. The wish belongs to Kim. So maybe she's got lucky, or she's flipped a coin into a pond, or she's found a magic lantern, who knows, but the wish belongs to Kim. We need to rearrange that. Next question, question 7. This street belongs to Paul. So for each of these, if you could just write down the question number, the original form, and then how you'd rewrite it, just so you can remember. And you can do this on a piece of paper, or whichever's going to be most convenient. So the street belongs to Paul. Finally, question 8. This necklace belongs to Tina. This necklace belongs to Tina. How are we going to rephrase that? Okay, so I'll give you a few moments just to check your answers, have a quick go over that. Okay, fantastic. So we'll go back to the start and we'll review our answers. The cart belongs to the horse. So the cart belongs to the horse. How are we going to start this? We're going to start with, remember, swapping round. The horse and then remember the apostrophe goes after the noun because it belongs to the horse. The horse's cart. It's quite a nice, simple, straightforward one. You might not see many horses and carts around, but it's a good example to use. Okay, so the horse's cart. Next question, question 2. The job belongs to Mike. How are we going to rearrange this? Starting with whoever it belongs to, and it's Mike. We don't need to put the, because it's Mike as a person. So we put Mike and then it's Mike's. So it's Mike's job. Mike's job. So can we see the difference between these two? There's not actually much difference apart from the use of the word the, because when you're talking about people you don't need to refer them to as the, it's just their name. The horse's cart and Mike's job. In this case we've got that moon belongs to Earth. That moon belongs to Earth. So we don't actually use a the in front of Earth here, and don't get confused by the use of that. So we need to say Earth's moon. So we are saying Earth's moon because it's the singular Earth. Now we could actually say the Earth's moon in this case because Earth is not a non-human noun. Earth's moon. We could say Earth's moon, or we could even say the Earth's moon. It doesn't really matter. Earth's moon. Remember the apostrophe going after the noun and then the S afterwards. Question 4. The car belongs to Pete. We've got another name here. So we're going to start off with Pete. Pete. Pete's apostrophe. Pete's car. The car belongs to Pete, so it is Pete's car. Question 5. The class belongs to Anne. Another name, so we're going to start with Anne. And then we're going to use the apostrophe S again. Anne's class. Dead straightforward. Anne's class. So we're all following the same rule here, it's fairly straightforward. Next question, question 6. The wish belongs to Kim, another name, and that becomes Kim's wish. Kim's apostrophe wish. Kim's wish. Question 7. This street belongs to Paul. This street belongs to Paul. Again, it's quite straightforward. It's just Paul Street. Paul Street. Question 8. This necklace belongs to Tina. This necklace belongs to Tina. Again, it's very straightforward. So is Tina's necklace. Tina apostrophe S. Tina's necklace. Now in these examples we actually didn't get a case of a plural, of something belonging to plural. So I'll do a quick example. So if we can think about it using a plural, if we've got the necklace belongs to Tina, Tina's necklace, we can think about another plural example off the top of my head. So instead of one person we can do peoples. And we're going to use the example of this bookshop belongs to the people. This bookshop belongs to the people, and the people could be anyone, could be the people that use it or run it, could be a cooperative, and that becomes the people's bookshop. Actually, that's a bad example because it doesn't actually use an S already, but it's an example of plural. So the people's bookshop. Okay, excellent. Now, going on this theme of possessives and plurals, we're going to move on to this worksheet. So this question is possessive or plural. Directions. Read each sentence below. If the bolded noun in the sentence is correct, put a check, a tick on the line, or if it's not correct, put a cross on the line. So remember what we said before about the use of apostrophes, which are these inverted commas, and the use of S and where that comes in the sentence. So all you have to do is tick or cross these, so it's a bit less complicated. It's 50-50 chance, it's multiple choice, but we still have to decide which is right or wrong. So question 1, John's assignment was to write a paper. John's assignment was to write a paper. Is this correct? So the assignment belonged to John, but has this been used correctly? Okay, thinking about that. Question 2. The girl's ankle broke when she fell. The girl's ankle broke when she fell. Now thinking about plurals, to make something plural, all we need to do usually is add an S on the end. But to make it possessive we have to change it, so there's a massive clue for that one. Speaking of dogs, we've just heard a dog bark. Question 3. That dog's personality is outstanding. There it goes again, the dog's barking, that's very topical. That dog's personality is outstanding. The personality belongs to the dog, hasn't been used correctly here. Question 4. The team's first game was their best one. The team's first game was their best one. So the game belongs to the team. Has this been used correctly? Now this is a tricky one because we need to think about where an S would go on a team, on this word anyway. Question 5. What do you think of the group's choices? What do you think of the group's choices? What do you think of the group's choices? So who do the choices belong to? Think about the possessive here, or the plural. Question 6. The bouquet of flowers, and if anyone doesn't know, a bouquet is just sort of a collection, so it's kind of like a sort of plastic carrier bag. A bouquet of flowers. The bouquet of flowers was really beautiful. The bouquet of flowers was really beautiful. Thinking about the use of apostrophe, the use of S, and the sentence structure there. Question 7. The managers are all on leave today. The managers are all on leave today. We've got the use of apostrophe here. That implies a possessive. So thinking about if that's right or wrong. The managers are all on leave today. Question 8. Have you seen the tadpole's shrinking tail? Have you seen the tadpole's shrinking tail? A tadpole, by the way, is a baby frog, or a little spawn before it becomes a frog, and they have tails, just in case people were getting confused with the vocabulary there. Have you seen the tadpole's shrinking tail? Question 9. This chef's restaurant just opened. This chef's restaurant just opened. Thinking about the use of possessive. Question 10. That is the teacher's intention, I believe. That is the teacher's intention, I believe. Question 11. The gardeners' convention is next week. The gardeners' convention is next week. Question 12. That car's engine doesn't sound very good. That car's engine doesn't sound very good. Question 13. My preferences for colours are red and blue. My preferences for colours are red and blue. Question 14. My purse's front pocket has a hole in it. My purse's front pocket has a hole in it. Question 15, the final question. That nurse's demeanour, and demeanour is your behaviour or how you present yourself. So demeanour could be your general outlook and how you appear and interact. That nurse's demeanour is disturbing. Okay. Okay, so question 1. John's assignment was to write a paper. Do you think this is right or wrong? This is actually right. That's fine. John's assignment was to write a paper. The apostrophe comes after John, followed by the S, and the assignment comes afterwards, because the assignment belongs to him. Question 2. The girl's ankle broke when she fell. The girl's ankle broke when she fell. This is actually incorrect because there's no use of an apostrophe here, yet we've got another noun coming after the girl's. So the girl's ankle, that's a noun here. So the ankle actually belongs to the singular girl. So we should actually have an apostrophe after the L followed by the S. So the girl's ankle broke when she fell. Question 3. That dog's personality is outstanding. That dog's personality is outstanding. and this is correct. You've got the dog's personality. The personality belongs to the dog. So you've got an apostrophe and you've got an S. That's absolutely fine. That's correct. Question 4. The team's first game was their best one. The team's first game was their best one. So for this one, it's actually incorrect because we're going to have the... Actually, I think it is correct. I'm getting confused whether it's plural or not, but I think it's a singular team. So this would be correct because the team is singular and their first game was their best one. So the team's first game was their best one. If it was a multiple amount of teams, so if you were saying 2 teams playing against each other, you might have a sentence like the team's first game together was their best one. The team's first game together, so that might be a plural. In that case we'd have S then the apostrophe, but in this case it's right because it's a singular team. Question 5. What do you think of the group's choices? What do you think of the group's choices? That's actually wrong because we have the use of a plural followed by a noun. A plural because there's no apostrophe, and the noun, the choices. So actually the choices belong to the group, so they should have an apostrophe here between the P and the S. What do you think of the group's choices? The choices that belong to the group. Question 6. The bouquet, remember that new bit of vocabulary there? The bouquet of flowers was really beautiful. The bouquet of flowers was really beautiful. That's fine, that's correct. Because the bouquet doesn't belong to the flowers, nor do the flowers really belong to the bouquet, but basically the bouquet of flowers is a plural, and you're saying they were, you're describing them, so they were, the flowers was really beautiful, the bouquet of flowers was really beautiful. That's absolutely fine. Question 7. The managers are all on leave today. The managers are all on leave today. That's actually incorrect, because instead of having a noun after the managers, you've got a description of what they're doing. So they are on leave today, so that implies that there's actually a plural, so we get rid of this apostrophe here and it'd be the managers, all one word, just the S. The managers, so there's several managers, are all on leave, so that implies that there's more than one. So in this case it should be a plural, but it's not, so we just get rid of the apostrophe. The managers, plural, are all on leave today. Question 8. Have you seen the tadpole's shrinking tail? Have you seen the tadpole's shrinking tail? That's correct, because you've got, after the noun, after the bold highlighted word, you've got another noun. So the shrinking tail does actually belong to the tadpole. Singular tadpole, apostrophe S. The tadpole's shrinking tail, the shrinking tail belongs to the tadpole. Question 9. This chef's restaurant just opened. The chef's restaurant just opened. That's actually wrong, because remember you've got the noun straight after the bold word, so that implies that the bold word takes possession of this. So it should be the chef apostrophe S restaurant just opened. The restaurant belongs to the chef. Next up, question 10. That is the teacher's intention, I believe. That is the teacher's intention, I believe. And that's correct because the intention belongs to the teacher. And it's a singular teacher, the teacher, rather than those teachers. So that is the teacher's intention, I believe. It's correct. Question 11. The gardener's convention is next week. The gardener's convention is next week. And this is actually incorrect because in this case it's kind of implying that there's plural gardeners. So you wouldn't say, you could arguably say it could be a singular gardener, but that would mean there'd be a whole convention just for one gardener. But generally we'd refer to a gardener's convention, or for example a collector's convention. That implies a plural. So there must be a few more gardeners going to this convention. So it would be the gardeners. We change the apostrophe and have it after the S. So it would be the gardeners' convention. The convention that belongs to a few gardeners. The gardeners' convention is next week. Question 12. That car's engine doesn't sound very good. That car's engine doesn't sound very good. This is wrong because the noun comes after the bold word. So it implies that that noun, engine, belongs to the car. So it should be car apostrophe S engine. The car's engine doesn't sound very good. Question 13. My preferences for colours are red and blue. My preferences for colours are red and blue. This is incorrect because the colours don't belong to the preference. My preferences. So this should actually be a plural. Why is it plural? Because you have more than one colour at the end. For colours are red and blue, so there's two here. So my preferences for colours are red and blue. So the whole thing should be plural. Question 14. My purse's front pocket has a hole in it. My purse's front pocket has a hole in it. And this is correct because the noun comes after the bold word. So the purse's front pocket, the front pocket that belongs to the purse. Finally, question 15. That nurse's demeanour is disturbing. That nurse's demeanour is disturbing. And this is correct because the demeanour belongs to the singular nurse. Okay, so that wraps up today's session. Should have a good idea of possessive or plural, and going back at this, possessive nouns. So that's just a good indication of how to use them, and particularly important for sentence structure. When you're speaking these phrases in everyday life, it's a bit easier, but when you're writing it out, getting the apostrophe in the right place is very important. So that should hopefully help with that. And I hope you've enjoyed this session. Thank you very much for having a listen.